narrative. This is from that particular interview, Zoom, and how different cooperatives have sourced different ideas for business people, business-minded people, and from the small-scale farmers with the cooperative or cooperative unions, they've been able to at least deliver and see growth and expansion of their farms, for example, and of their different enterprises. And clearly, that is more of the issue of enterprises and why it is vital and important for people to get to understand the beauty about enterprises. Well, all the beauty about cooperatives. And when you look at it in an urban situation, I think one thing that is actually lacking, one of the key issues that Mr. Enoch Nwabine mentioned was loyalty. And loyalty has actually become one of the biggest challenges with cooperatives in Uganda. Not only in Uganda, rather in Kampala. And not only in Kampala, but I think in most parts of the country. Why? To the cooperative unions alone, the perspective of bringing farmers together. Now, looking at the cooperative, the SACCOs, for example, loyalty, in the regard of whereby someone comes in to apply for a loan or to withdraw savings or go in there to at least say, for example, the treasurers or people who are responsible for keeping records and people's money, for example, those who are saving apparently. Now, the loyalty steps in, or the loyalty steps in at the time when someone comes in to apply for a loan and they're expected to pay back at a certain given time. Then, however, the time elapses and they fail to pay, or they decide to run away from the cooperative for the savings union and run away with the money. So this means the other people who have actually been saving will be affected greatly or immensely. I normally share this with most of the people here. The last year I had belonged to a cooperative group, that is a SACCO, a savings and cooperative group. And apparently, during the 42-day lockdown, I think most of the people who are facing financial constraints decided to withdraw, not to withdraw, but decided to apply for some loans from the cooperative society, savings and cooperative society. So after that, after the lockdown, we were also in need of our money because we've been saving, and we honestly know after a year, we're going to be withdrawing this amount of money because we've been saving. Then, surprisingly, things did not turn out to be that way because we failed to get our money in time. And when we asked the chairman at the time, the treasurer and the secretary, they were like, well, you see, people applied for these loans during COVID and now they do not have money to pay back, so you will really wait for them to first clear off for you to get more money. So we also had to go in for other loans from somewhere else because we needed that money. So now this is when the SACCOs become problematic, or they actually create a worry for someone who has not been part of it. But such things happen, and when you look at the reality checker, such things happen with SACCOs, and members of SACCOs or different SACCOs can at least bear with me when it comes to this, that at least you've faced something of a similar sort in regards to SACCOs and how you've been able to execute different certainties from there. But the loyalty aside, cooperative unions have forever been an answer to some of the other issues. And when you mention of the issues that they've actually been, is that when it comes to going in for a loan, if at all you need a loan with less interest rate, or even the government, Uganda Development Bank, the interest rates are quite high for some people. For example, low-scale farmers, some of them may not find it easy, may not get it easy when it comes to cooperatives. And that is when it comes to applying for these loans. The reason as why some people fear going in for loans from commercial banks or government is because of the collateral from the commercial banks. Then when it comes to the Uganda Development Bank or even Post Bank, you will definitely look at the interest rates, which seem to be high for them. So cooperatives and savings societies become the answer to this, and the saving and the cooperative unions normally bring together these farmers, and they share quite the same grievances, because if I am a farmer who is actually dealing in, for example, pastoralism, rearing my cattle, and you as well rearing the cattle, we're going to find out that we have the same challenges in the long journey. Some of them may be, there are actually those main challenges like drought, or for example, all that. And then when it comes to diseases, those are some of the similar challenges that may happen. And through cooperative unions, here grievances can be shared, and then people can actually send out their outcry to the government to see that the government brings answers forward. So this is why the cooperatives unions are important, and something that we should look at as a way that would support small and medium-sized enterprises as well as small-scale farmers in that way, from the rural setting down to the urban setting. Well, and also there is the idea of the cooperatives union bank, or the cooperatives bank. This pretty much as a way to enable farmers, or enable any member under cooperatives to at least get some money or get some loans. At least it's a source where they can acquire loans, and in the long journey also help them develop and expand, to help their business to go beyond and far ahead. Okay, away from the issue of the cooperatives, we are heading into the SMB Insight. Well, as a matter of fact, today is the elections eve in Kenya. Kenya elections are slated for tomorrow, presidential elections. That is, Kenya decides 2022, 9th of August 2022. The current president, Uhuru Kenyatta, but his former deputy president in William Ruto will be heading with Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister of Kenya. But there are quite a number of others who are going to be part of this, but the battle is mainly between the two. That is Raila Odinga and, of course, William Ruto. Now, tomorrow, as Kenya decides, the bigger question still remains: how ready is the country for the elections? But from the business perspective, there is some huge concern with memories, fresh memories of the 2007 post-elections violence that happened in Kenya. This particular post-election violence is what most of the traders of the East African community are worried about. With the insight here, we have the Deputy Executive Director of the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, Dr. Francis Chisirinya, on how prepared Uganda is for the Kenyan elections. And of course, is it a concern to worry about, or should we just watch it as normal elections? But of course, as most of the countries, or most of the traders here in Uganda mainly focus on the northern corridor, Mombasa port, because that manages 80% of our imports and exports, you would definitely wish this to be a free and fair election, or should be a peaceful election, if I'm to put it in that way. Because from the economic perspective, the East African community is worried about both political tensions and the long-run economic aspects that will definitely lead to hyperinflation, because we're already facing some of those challenges. But how about if a port that is actually managing our imports and exports also goes into bazaar? Then that means things will be worse. Now, with the SMB Insight, we now look at the Kenyan elections that are slated for tomorrow. Today is the eve for the elections. Yesterday was the last day for the open-air campaigns for the presidential candidates. Now, tomorrow is the big day for the land of Hakuna Matata to see who will be the next president of the country. Will it be William Ruto or Raila Odinga? It is the SMB Insight. Good morning.
Will dismantle the bandit economy of corruption. In whose hands are your families safe? When you look at your children, who do you feel will really make sure that you have the ability to give them the best that they deserve?
Choosing between the team that has a plan about the future of our country and the team that will tell you many stories about the past and what happened in the past.
In our region are a big challenge. because of the insecurity that usually comes along with it. And Uganda has suffered already. You know what happened to our goods in the way back in 2007 when Kenya had an election that went off there, that was became unstable. So we have remained with that since, and today we know that the election in Kenya, the temperatures are quite high. It could go either way, and there are all chances and possibilities that even violence could occur. So as a country and as the business community, we really cannot afford to have Kenya unstable, even for a day, even for a minute, because most of our goods come through Kenya. Good enough, as the private sector in Uganda, we anticipated that we needed to work on mechanisms that can help us get alternative routes to the sea. And in April, we had an engagement with the government of Tanzania, and most especially the Dar es Salaam port, together with the Tanzania Revenue Authority and the other agencies that move goods from the port to Uganda. Now, we agreed on a number of things, and good enough, a number of those things have started being handled. For instance, the expense that we're incurring to bring goods through Dar es Salaam to Uganda, that was removed. It is a bit cheaper today. The second thing, that Uganda Railways Corporation has already established a very good route through Dar es Salaam. Goods come by train up to Mwanza, and then they are brought by sea up to Port Bell and Jinja. And they have assured us that within 5 days they can bring the goods within that time. Now, also, Kenya Ports Authority has opened up office now in Uganda, so they can, the Tanzania Ports Authority has opened up offices in Uganda, so they are always able to be, they are always able to address our issues. Now, so for the business community, we can't say we are ready that much, but at least there is an alternative route through Dar es Salaam. Now, we were expecting, and we advise the business people to use Dar es Salaam as much as they can because of this challenge. And in case there are any challenges, that route is available, and there is an alternative for us to use Dar es Salaam. But we are also engaging with the Kenya authorities to ensure that they provide for us some security, some special approaches to helping us having the goods delivered here, even if they will be through an election. So as Uganda, yes, in case of in terms of finding an alternative route, we have definitely done that. The second thing, we are engaging with Kenya to ensure that these goods can come to Uganda without much problem. But you can't tell everything that can actually happen. What we encourage the traders and business people to do is to move out and take up some risk covers, like insurance covers that can protect them in case there is any problem.
All right, now as you can see, the preparations for Kenya 2022 are underway, and we shall not be having the current president on the ballot this time round, but we'll definitely be having his former vice president, who is by constitution still the vice president in regards to the Kenyan constitution. Just that when you look at issues that happen between the two, that is Uhuru Kenyatta and then William Ruto, who is donning yellow as his particular color of choice over to the Kenyans in there. So when you look at clearly, most probably the Kenyan presidential election is one that we closely need to understand. Why? Because as Uganda normally gets elections, every other member of the East African community wants to put an eye on this particular one. We have to watch and see what is happening, what is coming on, what is going on ground. Now, also, then on the issue as well, when we look at Kenyan elections and looking at how important these particular elections are going to be, is that if all goes well, then there is no need to worry. But when also we look at the focus of looking at the growth of business between both countries, the other East African community countries, is that you will wish that this election should be peaceful. Why? Because if they turn out to be violent, then the traders who are actually doing business or cross-border business may definitely be affected. And once this happens, expect prices to rise. This is some of the issues that happened during the 2007 elections. But because we definitely hope for the best, it is not something we are worried about currently, because during the campaigning period, there was nothing to worry about. Everyone was actually, business was moving on normally, and transition of goods was actually happening in a good way. It was actually moving in. When you look at the movement of goods in and out of the country, that is, for example, Uganda, imports and exports, so everything was normal. So we will wait by the end of this week to see how will this impact on the East African community economically, because politically it is already shaping. We're expecting a new leader for Kenya. That means we're expecting a new face on the East African community member states, that is under the heads of states. We expect, will it be a William Ruto or a Raila Odinga who will be ruling Kenya for the next years or for the next presidential term? How the development of business in Uganda is, we want to expect a lot of changes, but we would want to at least see that business continues to prevail. And then the best way to see business prevailing is to hope for peaceful elections with our neighbors Kenya. So by press time Wednesday, we'll be able to come out and at least clearly tell you how the elections went and of what importance has it had on the economic perspective. Last week, the two presidential candidates, the two main characters of the ballot paper in Kenya, vowed to express at least some new changes once they are put into power, that they will tackle corruption and also look at the best ways to tackle inflation that has become an issue in Kenya. But of course, that is more from the issue of the Kenyan elections and how we shall definitely benefit of it, and we will definitely be part of that one. But we shall be looking at the business perspective of it. How is business faring? And tomorrow maybe we shall be telling you how has business moved. The Kenyans scared also, or they are moving on with life normally. So that is it from the SMB Insight, where we've been looking at the Kenyan elections in a broader perspective of business. All right, now from that, let's look at more from the South Sudan and Ugandan's relations. How important are these particular ones as we continue to look at how the two countries will grow bigger and better?
Deliberated on many issues which have been challenging and a bit prohibitive for our business, for our small business to do business in Sudan. So much that some have lost life, so much that some have lost their property and money, so much that some have lost the whole business, because when the business started, everyone was excited to invest in Sudan. So now we have come to see that we sign up certain papers in agreement of ironing out those bottlenecks, insecurities, mistrust, quality of things that we supply, clear marketing, and so that we can encourage our members on what kind of goods that really have ready market in Sudan and the processes they should go through. And signing a document that will be comprehensively protecting our small-scale industries when they come to do business in Sudan. One thing I've discovered, Sudan does not have an association of small-scale industries like Uganda.
Because that when you mention South, because they are two countries.
Yes?
When you mention it, you put the South.
Wow.
Because they are now,
It is quite challenging that us who are coming here for the first time, we mix up Sudan and the South Sudan. But time and again, I get advised that it has to be South Sudan. So we are South Sudan in the capital city, Juba. So we want to see that we sign up a document that is binding, comprehensively protecting for us to do clean business, matching up with the conditions and agreements that we've put into the discussion, and that we have appended our signatures on, that will protect us and take care of us. One thing I've discovered is that South Sudan, they don't have small-scale industries association. They have groupings, they have cooperatives, which are also not very strong. So in my discussion with many of them during B2B, I was encouraging them that they can come and match up with us, that Uganda can help them through our embassies to start up their South Sudan Small-Scale Association. We can give them, there are so many skills that they are missing, that Uganda Small-Scale Industries can help them formulate. We also help them, give them the skills that they need to propel the small-scale industries or small-scale entrepreneurs who are venturing into the business world. Because there's where, one thing I'm so grateful to Uganda system, to our president who feels that whenever someone, the small people start, we take interest in them to make sure they get encouraged to grow. Not just call them your pet, go aside. We bring them under the umbrella of Uganda Small-Scale Industries. We grow them. And we've discovered that they are really innovative, very, very innovative. And one thing people have to realize, you can't climb a tree from the top. Every factory that has taken taste of life, and it is there, and you don't see it shaken. It is started as a small scale. A big example in play in Uganda, Mulwana's enterprises. Mulwana is one of the people that we talk of proudly. He was one of the first founders of Uganda Small-Scale Industries, meaning he also started there. And now it is not shaken because it is started as small and it has grown. So people in Sudan, we want to show them that people have started. If you only focus on the bigger, maybe they dealt and maybe they quickly found someone and started somewhere, and you ignore these small people, ignoring innovations. You are ignoring even bigger industries that will grow out of these people. You are discouraging them to get into industry. So we want to encourage our brothers and sisters in Sudan to start another one of South Sudan Small-Scale Industries Association, that they can partner with us. Time and again, we can get notes from each other, do things together, do things the same way, and communicating. You never know. We are talking Uganda now, we are talking about export readiness for our members, and we are finding products that we are going to export on behalf of our members. So in that way, we would also match the products that we get from Sudan Small-Scale Industries, together with Uganda Small-Scale Industries. We match products and we send them in the market, like coming out from brothers and sisters in one home.
All right, as you can see, and currently the Somalia and Uganda summit is ongoing 8th to the 9th. So previously we had the Uganda-South Sudan summit as well. So these are some of the countries that we would want to bring closer for business relations, because either way, as countries, the best chance for us to grow our economies is to ensure that we support each other and to ensure the growth of our relations are untouchable. All right, with that, we now take a break. I do return with the SMB on ground. Good morning.